Hope you all had a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. I've seen this movie 3 times at this point, and as you can tell from the title of this video, I had a phenomenal time with Sonic Movie 3. This is my non-spoiler and spoiler review, and let's just dive into everything that was excellent about this movie. To start, I love that this film focused on Team Sonic. Even though I'm still a fan of Sonic Movie 1 and 2, a lot of those movies can feel like Sonic and other video game characters are guests in what really should be their movie. That's completely different in Sonic 3. Team Sonic and Shadow are the characters that are driving the story the entire time, and anytime there are human characters, they are always being reinforced by the characters we know and love. The pacing of this movie also is phenomenal. It is action-packed from the jump, and it never lets off the gas. And I know that some people have been saying that the pace of it was a little too fast for them. It didn't bother me personally because if it's a Sonic movie, I want the pace to be energetic and fast, and I think this movie did the best job of truly feeling like a Sonic film through and through. It didn't have a slow moment at all. If there is one thing that this movie unequivocally nailed, it is Shadow the Hedgehog in every possible way. Keanu Reeves is too good in this role. Like, I went into this movie knowing that Keanu Reeves was going to do a good job, especially when he was talking about the research he was doing and how passionate he was for the role. I was fully expecting Keanu Reeves to deliver. What I wasn't expecting was to leave the theater and go, that might be one of my favorite voices for the character, period. The tone, the dialogue, and what Reeves brings to the performance, all of it was great, and I've seen the movie 3 times now, and this is the character I know and love. It's so well done. My immersion was never broken. I was never taken out of the movie going, oh, that's a celebrity voice and they're just kind of phoning it in. No, that was Shadow the Hedgehog portrayed damn near perfectly. And you can tell that Keanu Reeves, this creative team, but specifically the director Jeff Fowler, who got his start in the industry by working on the cutscene cinematics for Shadow the Hedgehog game, him getting to have this full circle moment where now he gets to introduce Shadow to the world, you can tell that Fowler really wanted to get this character right, and all I can say is thank you to everyone involved. Y'all truly did Shadow justice. This movie also has the fun of bringing Jim Carrey back as Dr. Eggman, but also having him play double duty as Gerald Robotnik, and it is as chaotic and fun and hilarious as you would expect. All 3 showings, Carrey got a ton of laughs as both characters, and to my surprise, they actually let him have some shockingly dark moments with Gerald Robotnik. I wish they gave him a little bit more, especially in the 3rd act of the movie where you really see Gerald's menace and evil really shine. But Carrey is having the time of his life working on these movies, and the man continues to show that he's still got it. And I know that a lot of reviews have been talking about the 3rd act, the 3rd act, the 3rd act, but my god, the 3rd act. Like, they are so right. If you love this franchise in any capacity, the 3rd act of this movie is everything you've wanted this franchise to be. It is some of the coolest spectacle you've ever seen, constant spectacular tributes to Sonic Adventure 2, and at the end of it all, unbelievably validating if you've been with this franchise for any amount of time. To see a Sonic movie review this well by both critics and fans, do so well as it has at the domestic box office, and I know that's going to continue once this movie starts going out internationally, it's surreal to live in a time where Sonic is this cool again. Look around at everyone who was watching this movie and you saw families of all ages. Everyone was having a good time in all 3 showings. And to just go anywhere now where Sonic, Shadow, and the marketing for this movie is everywhere. And everyone seems to be excited, and this year has meant the world to me. To cap it off with this milestone movie that is now officially the highest reviewed video game adaptation film on Rotten Tomatoes, it absolutely earned and deserved that, and it lives up to the praise that it's getting. With that being said, that is the end of my non-spoiler review. I will have a full spoilers discussion in a few weeks once more of the world has seen this movie, but I will shoot quickly through a few of my spoiler thoughts. Final warning, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's start with the emotional stuff, Shadow's origins, because they took a lot of really cool creative liberties with this movie. I know that some purists will feel a certain way about it because they pretty much axe everything related to the arc, in terms of it being research to find cures to illness. Maria isn't terminally ill in this movie, the arc isn't in space, they're just at a gun research facility on Earth, but I feel like they cut all of that stuff away to be able to add other moments and things that they got to do because this is also a very different version of Maria. In the game, she's this very pure, kind-hearted kid, but Maria in this movie is a little bit of a demon. Like, she's mischievous and is getting into trouble, but I love that it's her kindness and her hope of who Shadow can be that really unlocks the best in him. And whenever he has doubts about himself and about his future, any uncertainty, she's still that comfort for him the way that she is in the games. I thought Ayla Brown absolutely killed it as her, and when she does die, it sucks. They don't have her get gunned down by a soldier, but they do have the tragedy of that situation still hit. And I think they did a really good job about making it tasteful. Everything with Maria and Shadow's origin, even the changes of he doesn't really use Chaos Snap or Chaos Control. It's just kind of a default ability that he can teleport, which I'm okay with because it looks really cool. Also, that he was not scientifically created. He wasn't an experiment. He just came down in a meteorite that looks very, very close to the Black Comet. And I really hope that means what I think it means. And also, fun little Easter egg moment that I noticed in my rewatches, when Shadow and Maria are watching the Godzilla knockoff movie, that was the Biolizard. It had the mechanical eyes and the piping along the side, and that was such a cool blink and you'll miss it way to get the Biolizard in this movie. I thought that was great. Whoever made that call, great job. And then I love how the movie just goes, starting with Shadow breaking out of Prison Island in Tokyo and just mopping the floor with the gun soldiers. Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles getting into the mix, and again, him just mopping the floor with them. The 1v1 against Sonic, and the entire Tokyo sequence was such a good way to kick off this movie. Then Team Sonic regroups at the Chow Garden, and they're attacked by Gerald, and Commander Walters died? I was completely shocked that they killed off the Olive Garden commander, like right off the bat like that. And I respect them for that decision, because killing off a comedic relief, and especially flipping him in this movie where he's not a joke character, he's very serious, and you can tell that he feels remorseful for Shadow and what happened. I wasn't expecting a death to happen that early. We then have Team Sonic reunite with Robotnik and Agent Stone. They go to the gun facility, they start getting picked off by Shadow. Ivo and Gerald reunite, they come up with their plan, and I love how when Gerald is presenting the Eclipse Cannon and how he was able to gain his freedom that way, they show him doing all the scribbles on the wall, directly calling to how his cell looked in SA2. I thought that was a good touch. Then it's trying to get the last key for the Eclipse Cannon, Team Sonic and family infiltrating the base, and when Shadow punched Tom, and you have that moment where Sonic is over Tom and he's like telling him to get up, and then Shadow sees when he was doing the same thing to Maria. Man, that hurt. To have that moment be the through line that connects both Sonic and Shadow, and the way they just portray their rivalry in general in this movie is so good. We then see Sonic getting emotional and angry, pressing the issue and going, I have to get the Master Emerald, that's the only way we can beat them. Sonic just immediately after turning into Super, go straight through the Eclipse Cannon and grab Shadow, and I love that you don't agree with Sonic in that moment. You're going, wow, this moment is cool and it's epic, but this isn't the right way to do this. And I love that Shadow is not even fazed by Super Sonic. He just immediately starts getting into his head and going about how you're just like me. Now you know how I feel. Now you are fighting with revenge as well. When he punches the emeralds out of Sonic and then they both turn super, that was some Dragon Ball Z energy. When they are punching each other, instantly going to different places around the world, beating the hell out of each other. And then Shadow starts to monologue about how he's being a bad hero, he doesn't care about his family, and then he mentions Tom's name, and Sonic uppercuts him so hard, it sends him straight to the moon and knocks him out of Super. So damn cool. Which then leads to one of my favorite moments in the whole movie, where it's Sonic and Shadow having their one-to-one, looking up at the stars, and Sonic getting to Shadow that the way that you get through grief is the memories and the love that you had for the person that's no longer there. You see the sun go over the earth and shine down on both of them. He remembers Maria's line about how a star always shines even when it's gone. That's an awesome moment of closure for Shadow's arc in this movie, but also a great message for kids. They did a really good job with that. And then we climax to the most hype moment of the movie. They start playing Live and Learn. You hear classic Johnny Gioeli vocals, and you see Super Sonic and Super Shadow dap each other up and then completely shred through this massive wave of gun robots that Gerald Robotnik sends after them. It's this incredible one-take sequence where they're not even phased. They're mowing through everything. Shadow is using chaos spears. They do the pose, and it is some of the coolest stuff that this franchise has ever done. And I've gotten goosebumps every single time I've seen it. I cannot wait to rewatch this moment over and over and over again. Gerald and Eggman fight on the Eclipse Cannon. Tails and Knuckles help Eggman get the upper hand, and I love that when Gerald dies, it's like a bug in a bug zapper. That was good. Very classic Jim Carrey. Everyone works together to push the beam of the Eclipse Cannon out of the way of the Earth, even though it does cut the moon in half on accident, getting that awesome SA2 callback. But Sonic gets weak, he falls out of super form, unlike Shadow in the game, which I thought was a cool role reversal. Knuckles and Tails get into action, they save Sonic, and Shadow and Eggman sacrifice themselves to push the Eclipse Cannon out of the way of Earth's atmosphere before it explodes. And Eggman gets some nice final words with Stone, who is great throughout this movie. I love that Eggman got to tell him that he does care about him. It felt very earned, and both Jim and Lee did a great job with that moment. I feel like we are going to see Jim Carrey come back as Eggman again. He's just too good in this role. But if this is the end, or if it's a while before we see him again, I think it is an excellent send-off moment and a great way to end the movie. Then we have those two post-credit scenes. So Tom reunites with the family, he ends up being okay. Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles redo their race from the beginning of the film. Sonic overshoots the race, ending up in New York, and is greeted by not one, but an army of Metal Sonics, and the Metal Sonic designs look perfect. They look verbatim how Metal looks in the games. I don't know if they are setting up the Metallics arc from Sonic the Comic or what they are doing with all of these metals, but I am so down for the premise of this Terminator-esque threat being the next big bad for Sonic Movie 4. And of course, we get Amy Rose coming in clutch. There's this awesome shot where you see her silhouette with the hammer and the shattered moon in the back. Her design looks perfect. I cannot wait to see who they cast in the role. And yeah, we are going to get Sonic CD as the next major Sonic movie. And I can't wait to do a full video diving into spoilers and my theories after a few weeks. And to fully close the movie with Shadow revealed to be alive and picking up his inhibitor rings. I loved it. I had such a good time with this movie, and I know I will continue to have a great time with this movie in the years to come. Let me know down below. What did you think about Sonic Movie 3? Please try to keep it spoiler-free in the comments, at least for the next few weeks. We'll have the proper full spoiler deep dive and Movie 4 predictions near the end of January. Love y'all, have a blessed one, and I will see you in a few days for the Year of Shadow review and my plans for the future of this channel.